Hello, this is the next video in our series of how to build your apparel decorating business. Today we're going to talk about artwork services and separation software. There are going to be times, particularly in the beginning, where when you're not as skilled as you will be later in the CorelDRAW or Illustrator, a customer is going to send you their logo, but it's going to be a JPEG that has been copied 3 or 4 times. It's very blurry. It can't be used to screen print your shirts off of. You're going to have to redraw that logo, recreate that logo in vector form so that you can then properly put it on their shirts. As I said in the beginning, depending on how complicated the logo is, this might be something that could be intimidating. There are artwork services out there. I put one below that we used a lot that can redraw the art for you for very inexpensively. They charge, I think, $15 for 2 hours worth of work. Now, if the logo is really complicated and it takes them more time, they're going to charge you more. But most logos are going to be redrawn for $15. So in the beginning, if you're having difficulty getting a logo recreated, then it makes sense just to send it to them. You can spend, if it was going to take you 2 or 3 hours to redo it, and then it might still not look right. You could be trying to make a sale or do something else and let them do it. Because if you upload the file you're trying to recreate to them, they will redraw it and usually have it back to you within 24 hours. So I would recommend that you have a one of these companies. There are many of them. I just put the one below that we used in your toolbox, so that if you got something like that, and then through most of my business, I got good enough with CorelDRAW that I didn't have any issues recreating logos. However, every now and again we'd be so busy that I'd have a logo that I knew would take me 2 or 3 hours to redo, and I had all these other things that needed to be done. It made sense to just send it to them and let them do it while I could be doing something else. So it's not only just that a logo might be difficult for you to create. There might be times when you're so busy that it just makes more sense to pay $15 and let them recreate it than you sit down there and spend 3 hours doing it. Now, I will say recreating them and doing them is how you get better. So, in my view, you don't want to send all of them out because you're never going to learn how to do it. But when you get that one logo, or you're just so busy, it makes sense to send it to them. They also do digitizing, which is a technique you have to do before you can embroider a logo. So let's say that customer sent you that logo and they're wanting you to screen print it on shirts, and they want you to embroider that logo on a hat. We talked about earlier, you should have already got you a contract decorator. Even though you don't have embroidery machines yet, you can farm out your embroidery to a contract decorator. Oftentimes the contract decorator will also do the digitizing for a fee. But this particular art service charges $30, and they do a good job. If the contract decorator is going to charge you more than that, then you might want to send them the logo to have it digitized, and then just send that digitized logo to your contract embroiderer. There are a lot of embroidery digitizing services out there. There are some that do not very good work, and they're going to be very, very cheap, but they're not, the work's not going to be good. It's not going to sew well on the machine. So you get what you pay for. So this particular service that we used did a very good job, and they charged $30 to digitize a logo, and you can pass that logo on to your customer. That charge for the digitizing fee onto your customer, and mark it up a little bit. So if they charge you $30, you might charge $50 or whatever. And sometimes what we did is, if a customer ordered enough garments, to say they ordered 24 pieces, we would waive the digitizing fee and just eat that. If they're ordering just a dozen shirts or 10 shirts or whatever, then we charge that because it was a cost that we were going to have. So that the service is linked below. The other thing you're going to need to do is to separate your art that you're going to screen print on shirts. So, for example, for every color you have to have a screen, and you have to print film out to create that screen. So in a shirt design that has white ink and blue ink, I've got to print out what's going to be white on a piece of film, and I got to print out what's blue on a piece of film, and I take the film that's going to be the white ink, burn it on a screen. The film that's going to be the blue ink, I burn it on a screen. So you're going to be able to separate your artwork. Now, CorelDRAW and Illustrator both will do that for you, but there is software that is a little bit better to use, I think, or easier to use. Just you can do more things with it. Um, so I put some links below for you, and then we're going to talk about the software we use the most. Link below. Also, there are services that will separate the art for you. But if you're going to do 1 and 2 color jobs, it's really very easy to do, and you don't want to spend money. I mean, like I talked about recreating the logo. Sometimes, depending on the complication of the logo, it might be 2 or 3 hours worth of work. But separating the software might, once you know how to do it, it might take you 5 minutes. So you want to learn how to do that. There is a link, but there are services. Every now and again, if we got a really complicated job, it was a simulated process print, and we wanted it to make sure that came out right, and so we might send those separations out. But that was rare. But there are services that will do that. I put a link to one of them below that you could use if you needed to. The separation software that we use was called Simple Seps. It's very easy to use, very inexpensive. I think it costs about $200. It's a plug-in for CorelDRAW, and I think they also have a plug-in for Illustrator. And it did very well. It's not very complicated to use. You can tweak the steps. For example, if you knew in one area of the art you were concerned about it not overlapping enough or whatever, you knew that could be a problem area, you could give it a little bit more. What in CorelDRAW might be called outline, and Illustrator I think it's called a stroke. And so it's easy to use, and it worked very well for us, and it's also inexpensive. So I put links below to that software where you could purchase it if you wanted to, and to that particular YouTube channel that explains how to use this software. Also below I put an article that talks about, in this fellow's opinion, the 9 best separation softwares that are out there. Simple Steps is one of them, but there are many others, and everybody's different. Some people like Chevrolet, some like Fords. So if you find something else in that article that you might do your research and find it might fit you better, then have at it, and you can review the different ones that he talks about. So hope this helps somebody continue on the road to building a successful apparel decorating business.